Namaskar and welcome to the experiment part of frozen dairy products. In this session, we will study the preparation of Softy and Kulfi. The objectives are that after going through this, we will be able to outline the steps involved in preparation of Softy and Kulfi. We will identify the parameters used in production chart of Softy as well as Kulfi, and we will be able to specify the desirable characteristics of Softy ice cream. We have already studied the basic aspects in our theory component, and we know that the Softy is one of the very popular products of the frozen dairy products. Almost 50% of the different varieties, it is the Softy which is consumed. Why it is consumed? Because it gives us the instant satisfaction. It is served without hardening. There is a less requirement of infrastructure and the cost is also less. As a manufacturer, the less space is required and it is easy to operate. You must have seen in a small space also the Softy operators are selling the ice creams. But we should remember the legal requirements are same as far as the ice cream and frozen desserts are concerned. So today we will be in this session focusing on the practical aspects of this Softy. Let us take what are the desirable characteristics. First thing is, when it is served, it should be soft, it should have the smooth texture. When we say smooth texture, it means the ice crystals should be small, there should be no lactose crystals or we should not feel the sandiness, there should be no presence of butter granules and there should not be excessive coldness be there. It should have the dry appearance and it should have the desirable flavor and pleasing color should be there. Now to have these desirable characteristics, what are the things required? Let us take first the composition aspect. As we know, the fat plays an important role in the flavor. The fat can be less as compared to the ice cream. That is, we keep in the range of 6 to 10%. Now this is the reason that because it is in soft state and it allows us the full flavor as compared to ice cream which is frozen. The Softy is soft state, so we can keep around 6 to 10% fat. Now if we go less than this, it will give us the coarse, weak and icy body will be there, our texture will be there. Now if we keep high fat percentage, then there would be problem of freezing problem will be there and there could be the fat separation could be there. So for a soft serve ice cream, the fat should be in range of 6 to 10%. Now next we know the important component is milk solid not fat. Now this also is less as compared to the ice cream. We normally keep 11 to 14% is there. Now there is a factor which we studied in the theory is known as MSNF factor. For a Softy, this should be around 16, while for ice cream it is around 17. Now when we keep it lower, what are the advantage? Kindly recall, we mentioned that there is a degree of fat destabilization and because of this there is a better stand up and slower meltdown of the Softy will take place, and these are the desirable characteristics. If you remember, we mentioned that Softy should be soft, but it should be able to stand up and simultaneously the meltdown should be slower. Now to have this, normally this has been observed that if we replace it 10 to 15% with the whey powder, it will give us the good body and texture, that is smooth texture, dry appearance and good body. It will be able to stand up and the meltdown will be slower. It helps in avoiding the churning of fat because of the longer mechanical treatment is there in the Softy ice cream is there. Similarly, when we come to the sugar, it should be 13 to 15% and this is also 2 to 3% less as compared to the ice cream. This plays an important role in the stiffness and in the dryness is there. Now How we can have these characteristics? We reduce the sugar content by 2 to 3%. We draw it at a low temperature, that is -8 to -7 degrees centigrade, and if we replace it with the corn solids around 25%, we can get the desired body and texture is there. There are two factors which we take into account. One is the freezing point depression and the other is the sweetness is there. So, depending upon the composition, we can adjust it. Sugar should be in range of 13 to 15%, then we can select the either corn solids or dextrose, whatever it is there, it should be selected so that the product is stiff and required dryness is there. Emulsifier and stabilizers, they are slightly put in higher quantity, 5 to 10% more they are put in because of the body and characteristics which are required in the softy is there, right. Now, this is the average composition. We say for a soft ice cream, the fat should be 3 to 6%. It can go at lower also because, but then you remember the cost will be less, but then it can give you the coarse texture. Similarly, MSNF should be in the range of 11 to 14% should be there. Sugar can be 12 to 15%, stabilizer and emulsifier 0.4 to 0.5% should be there. This is the composition of this. Now, let us study the principle. We take the liquid mix and we freeze it into the soft ice cream freezer. It is slightly different ice cream freezer. We use the soft ice cream freezer and then discharge the mix in a semi-frozen or plastic state. As we know, there is no hardening is done to the softy. This is the product. Now, when we are saying no hardening is done, if you recall the principle, the remaining hardening is done in the ice cream in the hardening chamber, but in this case there is no hardening is required, but what we want is the maximum amount of water should be frozen in the freezer itself, the more amount of water, because this will give us the firmer and better texture and stand up properties in the softy cone will be there. Now, we remember that the freezing start at a temperature of say 2.7 degrees centigrade and up to temperature of -7.7 degrees centigrade to 6.6 degrees centigrade, around 55 to 65% of water will be frozen. Now, this will depend upon the composition of the mixes there. Now, if the higher is the temperature of the freezing, that is say around -6.6 degrees centigrade, the overrun will be higher, but the product will be softer. Simultaneously, if we are going for the lower temperature, that is below -6.6 degrees centigrade, the overrun will be less, but the product will be firmer. So, we have to draw the ice cream normally in this range, and therefore, the normal overrun of the soft ice cream should be in the range of, that is drying temperature outlet should be -7.7 to -6.6 degrees centigrade, and the overrun will be around 40 to 50% should be there. Now, what are the steps involved in the manufacture? Let us take first the selection of ingredients, then formulation of mix, balancing of mix, homogenization of the mix is there at 65 to 70 degrees centigrade, then pasteurization of mix, then cooling and aging of mix, and then freezing of the mix in the soft ice cream freezer and drawing out the ice cream is there. These are the steps we had studied in the theory component, and we will go in the detail in there. Let us see what are the requirements which are there. We take the soft ice cream freezer, we take the milk can with the plunger, we need the water bath, homogenizer should be 2-stage homogenizer, then we need the fat testing set, and we need the lactometer, and we need the acidity set. These are the equipment which are required. Now, for the material and chemicals, we need the dairy products, that is to supply the milk fat and SNF. We need the sweetening agents, that is like sugar or whatever the we want to replace it, that is corn solids or the dextrose. We have to take stabilizer and emulsifiers, and the flavor and colors are also required. Now, first is selection of ingredients. Always remember, we have to select the fresh and sweet dairy products. Then only we will get the good product. There should be no acidity development should not take place. Remember, the ice cream is a very sensitive product and we should always select fresh and sweet dairy products. Now, for sweetening, normally we use the cane sugar, but it can be replaced by the corn syrup solids or by the dextrose. Corn syrup solids we can go up to 35%, but dextrose will go up to 25%. Now, this replacement is being suggested depending upon the cost. If you feel that the sugar itself is cheaper, then we can go by the sugar itself. Otherwise, we can replace with the corn syrup or dextrose or whatever sugar amount of sugar you want to replace with some that is sweetening agent. You have to select in the proper way so that there is a balance of the freezing point depression, softness in the product and the cost also is to be taken care. Normally for making a soft serve ice cream, this is the formula we recommend, that is you have the fat 10% and it can go for the good quality softy 12% also. Similarly, the SNF could be in the range of 13 and it could be 14% also. The sugar could be there 13 and 12. Now you see the corn syrup solid is around 3%, in two varieties have been replaced and stabilizers 0.5, 0.4 and that way it could be there. These are the based on the standardization is there. Now, what are the options available for the different ingredients? Like if you select the dairy products, first is the essential ingredients. If you see the left side, essential ingredients, milk is must and it should have a fat SNF and it should be fresh. Now, to supplement either the source of SNF or fat depending upon the milk and depending upon your calculation, we can take the plain condensed milk, plain condensed skim milk, sweetened condensed skim milk, evaporated milk, sweet cream, but we can take butter, we can take the buttermilk powder, then we can take plastic cream and the sweet butter and butter oil could be there. Similarly, for the sweetening agents, cane, you can have the sugar, then we can select the dextrose, invert sugar and corn syrup, liquid or in dried form. Stabilizer which are essential, sodium alginate and then the glycerol monosterate GMS could be there. And we can also select from the Indian gum, locust bean gum, pectin and sodium carboxymethyl cellulose, these could be there. Similarly, flavors depending upon the flavor and color, vanilla, cocoa, chocolate and color should be according to that. So, first is the selection of ingredients is there. The next is the mixing of the ingredients. We take the dry ingredients first, we mix them properly, that is milk powder, sugar and stabilizer, mix them. Then we take the liquid ingredients. You mix all the liquid ingredients separately, namely cream and milk. Now, incorporate dry ingredients into liquid ingredients gradually with constant stirring, and heating should be done till we get the homogenization temperature, that is around 65 to 60 degrees centigrade. You increase the temperature. The next is the homogenization, but before homogenization, filter the mix through a muslin cloth and then go for the homogenization. That is a two-stage process. In the first stage, the pressure will be around 2500 and in second stage 500 will be there. Then to make the product safe, we go for the pasteurization, and normally can be done by dipping in a hot water bath, either by using steam or jetted vessel, and it should be heated to 71.7 degrees centigrade for 30 minutes is there. Then we cool the mix, and normally first we bring the temperature by keeping the mix can in the tap water to about 35 degrees centigrade, then cool it to the 20 degrees centigrade and similarly bring it to the lower temperature, that is to the aging temperature. Aging is done normally for 4 to 6 hours and temperature is 3 to 4 hours, and it is done before the freezing is there. Now, all the why it is done we have already studied in the theory component into this. Now we come to the freezing component. In the freezing, first select the clean and sanitized Softy ice cream freezer, and then the freezing is done. Normally in the freezing there will be two components will be taking place. First is the freezing will be there of water into the ice cream, and we remember around 40 to 50% of water is frozen, and we get the 40 to 50% overrun, and there is a temperature of range of minus 6 to 7 degrees centigrade, and it also incorporates air, that is around 40 to 50% air is incorporated. Now we should select the optimum quantity of mix, that it should not be very too much. We should normally fill 50% of the Softy ice cream freezer. Now that depends upon the brand and makeup. So you select, we should always select the optimum quantity so that the efficient freezing and good overrun is there. Now we come to the production chart. This is important. As a practical component, you have to maintain the data. As a technical operator, you will have to maintain wherever you are in any factories there. So first is, what is the fat, SNF, sugar, stabilizer, emulsifier required. So that is the first part. So we see the part Softy ice cream mix record, it gives the date. First is the desired composition of fat, SNF, sugar, stabilizer, amount required is there. Then we do the ingredients. You remember we selected different ingredients like whether we have a cream, whole milk. So what is their weight, their fat SNF, their quantity, and their total cost also. Now these are the normal ingredients which are used in soft ice cream, that is cream, whole milk, skim milk powder, skim milk, butter, frozen cream, condensed skim milk, and sucrose is there. Similarly, corn syrup solids, stabilizer, emulsifier, water, total. So these are the total composition we have to see. Now we also have to note down what is the pasteurization time and temperature. Similarly, homogenization temperature and its pressure also. Then when it's cooled, what is the aging temperature, and then we also note down the fat and total solid fat. Then acid test, the quantity of liter of mix and their total cost will come into the picture. Then we come to the freezing record. Then when they take the mix, how much of ice cream or Softy is produced, total liters, liter of mix used, and total cost of the mix. So we have to calculate. Now then we also amount of flavor, fruit, cocoa, nuts, color, whatever other things are there, their cost was also taken into account. Then we go total cost of flavor, total cost of ice cream, and that will give us the total cost of the product. How much of Softy has been produced, and we will able to come out. So then we will come to know how much is the percentage overrun in the product is there. So with this we come to the next part is preparation of Kulfi is there. Now we know Kulfi is an indigenous dairy product, and it is characterized by the compact body and icy texture. The color is slightly whitish to brownish in appearance is there, and it is a quite popular indigenous dairy product. You can have the nutty flavor, slightly cooked and caramelized flavor is there because it is cooked and prepared, right. Now the principle we know that we concentrate the milk in a large open pan, then we add the required amount of sugar, color and flavor, and the nuts could be also be added. We cool the mix, then fill in the suitable containers, and then immerse these Kulfi containers in salt and ice cream mixture in earthen part and frozen, and intermittently we shake them also so that there is a air could be also incorporated, right. Now what are the requirements for making the this product? The equipment, we need the steam kettle, then we need the Kulfi molds, then we need the brine tank. These are the equipment required, and the materials, it's milk, cream, skim milk powder, sugar, stabilizer, flavoring and coloring ingredients, the coarse salt and ice. If you recall, we mentioned that the ice cream and related products are very good for the entrepreneurship, because the small entrepreneur could also go, and the big entrepreneur can also go for these products earlier. So let us take the procedure one by one. What is the traditional method is there, and which can be adopted by the small scale entrepreneur. First, select the milk, standardize the milk to 5% fat and 9% SNF. Then we add the sugar at the rate of 10% level by the weight of the milk is there. Then concentrate this milk into shallow pan with constant agitation till about the half we get that is one half its original volume we get. Then we can add the starch at the rate of 3% or sodium alginate at the rate of 0.15% by weight, and to add it to the concentrate, and we mix them is there. Now at this stage, cool the mix to 4 degrees centigrade and keep it for about 6 hours is there. At this stage, we can also add the flavoring components and the nuts, almonds or cardamom, whatever flavor and color we want to add. Then we fill all the mix into the aluminum cones. Normally 80 ml is the volume, and then you put the cap and place in the ice salt mixture, which is 4:1 in an earthen part is there. As we mentioned, during freezing, the contents of the cone should be frequently shaken, and so otherwise it will form the large ice crystals will be formed. Now we come to the industrial method. It is same, that is, we standardize the milk up to the desired fat and SNF. Remember, we mentioned that it has the same standards as for the ice cream or the frozen dessert. So depending upon your classification, as what product you are going to sell, you have to keep the standards. Then we can select the ingredients like milk, cream, skim milk powder, sugar and stabilizer. The fat SNF ratio should be 1.4:1 is there. If you recall, the MSNF ratio should be around 16 should be is there, right. Now the content should be heated in open pan with vigorous agitation and concentrate the mixture up to 2 times, and then we add the stabilizer with sugar is there. Now again you heat it approximately 3 times should be the content should be heated, and then constantly heating and agitation should go on. Cool the concentrated mass, and then we freeze in a batch freezer to an overrun of 20 to 30% is there. Then we add the chopped nuts, almonds, flavor and color are added in the freezer, and then filling of these frozen mix in the molds having the freezing pockets. We insert the wooden sticks and then we harden them at -23 to -30 degrees centigrade. You defrost the bars by putting the molds into bank having lukewarm water, so that for easy lifting them from the freezing pockets, and then you pack it and store it. This is the industrial method is there. Now what are the observations? Same like for Softy, we take the Kulfi mix record. First is what is the standard desired, that is what fat, what SNF, what sugar percentage you want to keep it. Then the amount desired is there, and that way we can calculate, that is cream, whole milk, skim milk powder, sucrose, stabilizer, water and total we can calculate. That is, you take the weight, percentage fat and SNF, kilogram fat and SNF, also do the costing into account. Then weight of mix after concentration, then cool to what temperature, what is fat test, what is total solids, what is acid test, that is lactic acid, how much is the acidity of the mix is there, then what is the liters of the mix is there, and then what is the cost of the is there. Then we go further in the freezing, the number of molds filled, total liters, liter of mix used is there. Then total cost of mix, total cost of flavor, then total cost, liters of kulfi manufactured, cost per liter and percentage overrun. So this way we can know that what is the cost, what is the overrun, and what should be the you should charge to the consumers is there. Now, what is the summary? That soft serve products are not hardened. Normally, they are frozen at minus 7.2 degrees centigrade. They are served soft. It should have the soft texture. It should be having the smooth texture. The body should be such that it should be able to stand up, and slow meltdown is there. Kulfi, on the other hand, is an indigenous product with a compact body and ice texture, and we concentrate the ingredients and then freeze it either in the salt and ice mixture or in a continuous method, and then we can pack it and store it. Thank you very much and enjoy your product. Thank you.